Hi everybody, it's me Trisha. Thanks for joining me on Creative Unique Treasures, my channel. And it's a new year, it's 2026, it's January 3rd, and I hope that you all had a wonderful, blessed Christmas and a happy, blessed New Year. And I'm been away for a little bit, for about a month, getting ready for Christmas, and but I come back and I'm gonna be doing a purse today. I'm going to be making a purse, and it's going to be a crossbody purse, and I'm going to be making it out of this used to be a bedspread, so this is the material. I'm going to use that, and I'm going to use, this is going to be the lining. This is like an old jacket, blazer type thing. It's going to be a tapestry lining. And it's going to have a pocket, and it's going to have a flap in the front. And I did my pattern. My pattern is 11 by 11. Just made my own homemade pattern. And then I folded it in half. And then I cut like I want it to be like not a square, but I want it to be kind of rounded on the sides, on the edges. So I just drew a line with my marker, and then I just made it so it's like a U shape. And so there's going to be the front. I got to cut two of these, two for the front and the back. And then here's the flap. The flap is 8 inches tall by 9 inches wide this way. And like I said, I did the same thing. I want it to be rounded, so like a U shape. So I did that. So that's going to be the flap. That's the size of the flap. And I'll be doing these 3 pieces with this material. It's kind of not a tapestry, but it's from a quilt, an old quilt that my sister didn't want any longer, so she gave it to me, and I thought, well, yes, I can make things out of that. And then the lining, we need to cut 2 of these out, 11 by 11, and for the flap. And the lining, I'm going to use this material, the tapestry. And it's going to have a pocket, 2 pockets. So the pockets will be out of the lining material, this. But then I'm going to line the pocket. So I'm going to put this material on it. Sorry about that, I bumped my table. This is going to be inside lining for the pocket, because I want it to be kind of finished. And I know that's kind of maybe overkill, but I think that I'm going to like that, because I want it to have structure to it. So let's get started on cutting out our pieces. So I need 2 of these. And then I'm going to take it to my machine after I cut it, and I'm going to just do a straight stitch around. So it will stop fraying. Go ahead and get my pins and pin it on here. Just put a few in there because I just got a paper pattern. And I'm almost kind of concerned with, I think I'm going to come back and I'm going to cut a bigger piece of material out. I'll use this for the flap. That's what I'll do. So I'll just show you how to do this part there. That would be better. Because I think I need a bigger piece. I cut this piece a little too short. So I'm just going to put this on there. I'm sure we all know how, you all know how to cut a pattern out. So I'll cut this out. I'm going to go a little bit bigger, and then I'm going to go to my machine and just put a zigzag around it to stop the fraying. This material kind of likes to fray, and I don't want it to fray, so I will put a little bit of a zigzag on there to stop it. Try to cut it better than that. There we go. I guess I'm going to have to lock this table down. I keep knocking it. Sorry about that. There we go. Alright. So that's the flap. I'm going to cut the rest of the pieces out, and then I'm going to take them to my machine. And like I said, I'm just going to do a zigzag around the edge, or a straight stitch, just to stop it from fraying. And when I get done with that, I have some lace that I want to lay on top of it. And then sew that to it. And see, the material will show through. But that's how I'm going to be doing. I'll come back and show you how I'm going to do that. But that's how I'm going to be doing the purse, making the purse, having the lace just laying on top of this material. So we got a lot of work to do, or I got a lot of work to do. I hope you join me. If you haven't already subscribed, I would appreciate it so much. You guys have been great with the comments and the likes and asking me questions. I love to read your comments. And this is an upcycling channel. I do some painting on decor, and Jeff, my husband, he builds things, and I paint them, and I put them in my booth at the Vintage Farmhouse in Holly, Michigan. So if this is something that you're interested in, I do some flannels, I do aprons. I want to expand and do some jeans and some purses, and some change purses. I got some big plans. I'm really hoping to carry them out, and I thank you so much for joining me. So let me go ahead and get this stitched around and get this cut out, and then I'll come back and show you. Okay, I'm back, and I found the other pocket. So here I got two. 1, 2. So that's the front part of the pocket. These are the body and the flap. And this material is very slippery. It's like silk, and so it's very hard to cut. So it just kind of moves around and shifts around a little bit. So I'm not going to mess with that too much. Now I want to do a lining for my. Now watch, this material will probably be the same way. I want to do a lining for my pocket, because I like to do extra things in life. I don't like nothing simple. I like to have a challenge. And like this material wants to slide off my table. There we go. All right, here we go. So I want the lining to be this material. I'm going to put a pin there just to hold it. Maybe the weights are not holding it. Nice material down good enough. Okay, so here we go. Let's try to cut this one out. I'm going to try to be a little bit neater. I don't know, I think I picked out some fabric that's just very thin and slippery, like silk, you know, like it just wants, I'm chasing it around the table. and my lines are not straight. This one's a little bit better, I think. There we go. It's really pretty, so I love it. I love this material. This is more closer to a square. I'll go ahead and press that. But that's really pretty. That's going to be the inside lining. When Jeff gets up, I'm going to have him lock my wheels on my table so it doesn't keep moving. So I like both sides of this material, but I do like this side better. So this is going to be the right side, this is the right side of that, and this is the wrong side. So I'm going to put right sides together. Press it down, make it nice and, pressed, nice and pressed. And then I'm going to go to my machine, and I'm going to sew around, but I'm going to leave a 3-inch gap at the bottom. So I'm going to sew around. So I'm going to put a pin there and put a pin here to remind me to stop sewing. So I'm going to sew around. I'm going to go all the way around like this and back here and leave this open so I can turn my pocket right side right. First I'm going to press it, then I'm using white thread, and I'm just going to do a straight stitch, 1/4 inch seam allowance, and then I'll come back. Okay, I have to make a liner piece for the flap. So, and as I'm cutting this blazer and deconstructing it, it's coming apart a little bit. I'm a little concerned, but I'm going to keep on going. It must be so old. And even when I did the around the shoulders, it had some shoulder pads in there. And the shoulder pads, let me see if I can find a piece. It was these little, like, yellow foam. Almost reminded me of mattress, not mattress, but like what you would find in a chair. Upholstery foam. Not foam, but well, I guess it's called foam. But anyways, it just kind of fell apart, like deteriorated in front of my eyes. And that's why I can't even find a piece of it. I kept thinking, what is that golden like threads and stuff on this material? And here it was the shoulder pads deteriorating. So, okay, I got that going. Got that done, cut out. I'm going to go to my iron, and I'm going to press all these. So I got 2 of the front and back, the lining and the body and the purse material. 1, 2. So pin these two together so they don't get mixed up. Go to my ironing board, or my iron, and press them. And I have my pockets, which that was a challenge. But once I get them sewed up and turned right side right, they're going to have a lining inside the pocket. So you might think that's overkill, but it's really flimsy kind of material, so this is kind of acting as an interfacing for me. So I'm going to go and press, and then I'm going to go to my machine, and I'm going to stitch up my pockets, and I'll come back and show you. Okay, I have my pockets here, and I have the actual pocket right here. Let's see, I'll show you here. So here's my pocket, and it's 6 3/4 by 7 inches, And here's the lining for the pocket, because I want to double it up, because this is kind of flimsy. This is instead of using interfacing, I'm just going to sew these two together. I'm going to use white thread because that's what's in my machine. And I'm going to go to my machine and just do a straight stitch around, 1/4 inch seam allowance. But I'm going to only do I'll show you in a second here. I'm going to leave a 3-inch gap at the bottom right here, so I can turn it out, you know, right sides out. Just want to make sure that that's going to be right. Yes, it'll be right. I had to think about it for a minute there. So I'm going to go ahead and take this to my machine and go ahead and, I know I seem to be repeating myself, but I'm telling my own self. I'm going to sew right here and go this way, and go all the way up, and then go down here, go down this side, and go right to here to this pin. And I'm going to leave this open so I can turn it inside out. Turn it right side out. I'll come back and show you. Okay, I got my pockets sewn all the way around, straight stitch. I'm going to cut off my threads. And now I'm going to snip my corners. Snip the corners right here so that they'll come to a point without cutting my stitches. This material kind of moves all over the place. It's really slippery. Okay. Take the pins out. And let's go ahead and unfold it. Kind of push out my corners without going through my material. Oh, I poked right through that. I'm telling you, this material, I'm just going to have to do some stitching on that. Do a top stitch all the way around. I got to be really, really careful. Maybe I'll use this end because it's not so pokey. There, that's better. All right. And that's the weight of the material, so I didn't go through that side. But I did this side. I did right there. So you got to be really careful. At least I do, anyways. Whoops, I got the pokey end. I better put the fat end in there. Yeah, that's better. There. Yeah, that's pretty sharp, so. Okay. All right, there we go. There's the pocket. And like I said, I'll go over that one right there. Well, no, that's just the material from the other side, so maybe I didn't go through. Okay, there we go. And then I'm going to go take it to my iron and press it, make it real nice and straight. So here's the pocket, and this is going to be the liner for the pocket. So that's really pretty. I like that. So I'm going to do the same thing to this pocket. Okay, I got the pockets all sewn together. The only thing I regret is maybe I should have used black thread, but this is a pocket, and so it's going to be inside the purse. And when I attach it to the purse, I will use black thread. So I'm changing my thread over. But yeah, the pockets are a lot more, have more structure to them. They're not so flimsy. So I'm glad I did the aligning on them. So there's the lining side, and then here's the actual pocket side. So there's that one, and there's this one. So there's that, and I did change my mind. Surprise, surprise. Of course I do. So I was going to use this material, this lace on my which that is pretty. But this one here, this one's a little thick. That one there was thicker. This is thinner, and I might have, but I really like the way this looks on top of the cream. So you can see more of the cream behind it. It's a lot thinner, but I like it a lot. I'm going to just try that. I'm going to try this one. So I'm going to go ahead and cut pieces. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut a square. Not be perfect about it. I don't need my lining on there. So I'll set that aside. I'll get all the, set this aside and the pockets aside for now. Get my 3 pieces. This is the front or the back, whichever one. And this is the front or the back, so I have my 3 pieces. See if I can get it all in the camera shot here. So anyways, I got the 3 pieces. I'm going to go ahead and show you what I'm going to do to all 3. So I'm just going to lay my lace on top. And it doesn't have to be cut exact. I'm actually going to cut it a little bit bigger so I can trim it when I get back. So I'm going to pin it on. I'm going to go to my machine. I think I'm going to do a zigzag. So I'll pin this all on. And I'm just going to rough cut a square, like a little bit bigger. Try not to waste too much of it. There we go. And I'll take it to my machine and I'm going to stitch. I'm just going to stitch as close as I can to the edge with a straight stitch or a zigzag. I think I'm going to do a zigzag first and see how that goes. All the way around to attach the lace to the top piece of the material. I'm going to do that to all 3. Make sure that I have the right sides out. Yep, there we go. This looks like, okay. Okay, that's the top. I'm going to do the same thing with this. Bring it down a little bit there. Kind of lay it flat, make sure it's nice and flat. Pin it on. And I'm going to cut I'm going to do that to all 3 pieces. Go to my machine, sew it all on there, and I'll come back and show you. Okay, I got the lace sewed on, and I might have did a little overkill on the lace, but, or, you know, sewing and attaching it to the flap, but I did, you know, a lot of stitching. I did a lot of zigzagging up and down. And so there it is. I'm going to take it to my iron and press it down so it lays nice and flat. But I have about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rows. And then all the way, well, inside 5, and then all the way around. So it's stitched on there really good. And now I'm going to go ahead and cut the excess off. Going close, but not to where I'm going to cut into my so that'll be good. I'll go take it to my and press it. There it is. That's really pretty. I'm glad I went with this lace because you can see the cream, the antique white material through it. So, okay, I went to and I hand sewed on some things onto my flap. And I got this like brooch and a few, like 5 buttons there that I put on. And that's what I'm going to do, so have on there so far. Now I'm going to take this wispy fringe and I'm going to put it on my flap on the edge like this. Take it to my machine. And I'm going to do a zigzag because it's so wispy and holy. So I figure the zigzag is going to connect and catch most of it, you know. So that's how I'm going to do that. So I'm going to take it, I'm using black thread zigzag, and I'm going to stitch this all the way around. But I believe I should bring all the fringe inside and do it that way. So that's what I'll do there. I'll bring it all inside the flap and get it out of my way. Make sure it's out of my way and attach it like that. So So I'll do that and come back and show you how that looks. And if I had anything more on my flap, like dangling down like a chain or anything, I would put it inside the flap before I stitched it up. Okay, I'm going to work on the back. So this is the back side of the purse. And what I want to do is take this right here, this necklace, and I want to join it to about 2.5 inches down. So there's three, 1, 2, 3 pieces of chain, different, black and just a smaller chain link, silver chain link, and a larger chain link. Very light weight, so that's very nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take my cutters, my wire cutters, and I'm going to cut it right here on this link right here. Like that. There goes that bead, but that's okay, I'll get it in a minute. So I took that apart, so I just have that part right here, that connects them. And on this side of the necklace, I will take off. It's connected to I will take off this part right here. Cut that part off. I don't quite know what the name of that piece is. Trying not to cut my jump ring. Maybe I'll cut it, maybe I won't. See if I'm strong enough. Okay. There we go. All right. So now I have these three. And I will put that and sew that onto here. And like I said, I'm going to come down about 2.5 to 3 inches. So it doesn't get in it. I'm going to come in approximately 1 inch. So it doesn't interfere with my presser foot on my sewing machine to be able to stitch. Okay, I'm going to come on camera and show you how I'm going to do this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come down 2 inches. And then I'm going to come over about 2 inches. And I'm going to make a mark. Approximately right there. And I'm going to put that right there. I'm going to come down 2 inches from the top and 2 inches over. And put a mark right there. My chain there. My chain there. I'm going to sew it on there. I have my needle and thread. I have gray thread. So I'm going to come up like that. Just back and forth. And attach that to there, my jump ring to there. I'm going to do it on both sides. I'm going to go around about 5 or 6 times. And I'm going to do that about 5 or 6 times on both sides. I'll come back and show you. I wanted to show you. So you just go back and forth. Just make sure your thread doesn't get tangled in the back or in the front. Make it nice and secure. Sometimes it gets tangled and it leaves, you know, big gaps or big loops in the back. So make sure that it's just nice and neat. You're not going to see the back, but just so you know that it's being securely hooked in. Sometimes it gets tangled. Kind of go around your jump ring a little bit so it's not pulling on your lace. Just do the best you can. Trying to be as neat as possible. And that's hard for me. I enjoy this though. Okay. Go around on this side a little bit. There we go. Now I'm going to come around on my back. And make my knot. Make another knot because this one didn't seem to want to attach itself right. There we go. And there it is. It's attached. Cut your string. And now attach, do the same thing to the other side. hopefully. There we go. And find my dot, which is right there. And I'll get that sewed on the same way. Okay, that took a lot of patience on my part to get this pretty little gem on there. And then I went to pick it up and I thought, I hope it lays good when you pick it up. Let me see if I can do it like this. See, then it turns around a little bit. Let's see. Let's see. So there it is. There's that one, and then this one's plain, and then this one has this. So I can take this jump ring off because I think I'm not going to put nothing on there. So let's take this jump ring off so it doesn't snag on anything. By the time I get done with this purse, I'm going to have 100 hours into it, probably. Okay, that's good enough. And then let's get it off of there so I can save it and put it in my jump ring pile. Container, I mean. There we go. Alright, so the back of the purse is done. Trying to get it in frame here. I like it. It was worth it. Now we're going to work on the front. Okay, I have my braid. I've got my front of my purse, and I have this braid that I just braided, and I made it like a homemade tassel at the end, and I want this to go right here on the purse. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down about 1.5 inches from the top, come in about 1 inch, and I'm going to sew it. I'm going to stitch back and forth right here. And then that will come down like this and hang down. But I'm going to bring it into the inside of the purse. Then I have this broken up necklace, and I'm going to go ahead and I don't want it to be even on the ends. So it's just, and I added a few charms at the bottom. I want it about there. And I'm going to go ahead and take I have a shoestring. You can use a ribbon, but I had a shoestring handy. So I'm going to cut about 5 inches off. I want to make sure it's long enough. Cut it to a point. Make a loop. And I'm going to come down about 4 inches, about to here. And I'm going to come inside. And I'm going to lay that. And I'm going to take it to my machine and go back and forth, back and forth. Make sure it's 1 inch in at least to clear my presser foot. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and take my fringe and I'm going to go ahead and put it in going in the inside and go around using a black thread zigzag stitch and start stitching it all the way around. Make sure all the fringes are inside. And have all this stuff here inside. Okay, everybody, I changed a little bit. I added a little bit more things to the flap. I added some more dangles right there. So that added to that. And I got the fringe all the way around. All the way around the purse. And then here's the key. And here's the broken necklace and the braid and another piece of broken necklace over here. So then the flap will go on, and then these dangles right here. So that's how it's coming along. Next up is the liner. So I'll come back and show you how to do that. Okay, now I'm going to work on the flap. And I have the flap here and the liner. And I'm going to attach the flap liner to the flap. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put all the goodies, all the fringe inside. Like so. All the jewelry. Make sure the jewelry's up in there. Just move along patiently. Okay, and then put the right sides together. This is the right side of my flap. Like that, and kind of try to turn it over. Keep it all together. Make sure everything's inside. Now we gotta pin it all the way around, but leave the top open. And I use a little bit more pins to keep it steady so it doesn't shift around. I'm going to take this to my machine and go around the edge as close as I can go, all the way around, but I will leave the top open so we can turn it in right side right. Alright, the flap is all done. Got that all sewed. I cut my little threads. I will cut. Lord, it's very windy in Michigan today. It's Friday, January 8th or January 9th. I'm going to go along here, just trim my edge, trim the lace off. Very crazy weather in Michigan. It gets warm and then it gets cold. So that's why there's a lot of sickness going around. Flus and stuff. Colds, sinus infections, all that wonderful stuff. Alright, there we go. I hope you're all doing well and feeling well today. So there we go. Got it all. Now we're going to work on the rest of the purse. This is quite the process. Okay, I got my middle of my flap in my purse, back of my purse. I'm going to put right sides together. I'm going to match up these two. And I'm going to pin these together, the middle. And I'm going to pin these down together. Sew these both together. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take it to my machine. I'm going to connect these two together. So I'm going to take it and sew, straight stitch, quarter seam allowance with black thread. And I'm going to start here and go all the way across to here. Then I'm going to turn it around and come back and do it twice. So it's 2 times. So it's extra durable. And I'll come back and show you. Okay, so the next step is we have to sew the front and the back of the purse together. So I'm going to get all the stuff inside. This is the front. Get all the fringe. Put it all inside the bag. All the chains and necklaces. Put it all inside. Make sure it's all inside so I don't sew it. Going towards the inside. In the middle. And then I'm going to take the back piece And since this doesn't have as much, I'm going to flip it over onto there. Once I do that, I'm going to connect each point and pin it all on. And then I'll go to my sewing machine and I will do a straight stitch, 1/4 inch seam allowance, and I'll do it twice for extra durability, and I'll come back and show you. First I'm going to get it all pinned up all the way around, not at the top. Just around the edge. Okay, I got it all sewed on twice, all the way around. And now I'm going to clip it a little bit here and there. Oh yay, it's coming together. I'm going to take it to my iron and press it. I'll press it all nice and crisp all the way around, using my tea towel on the top where my lace is. Next thing is the lining. And I think I'm going to hand stitch these down. Just here and there, like right here. So they stay, so it's not flapping around so much. Just a couple little stitches here and here, here and here and here. So that way I'll stay down. So there we go. I'm gonna go ahead and press it real good, and I'll come back and we'll do the lining. Okay, I pressed my strap, and I have my cord, and I got it 6 inches longer than I need, so at 56. And I'm going to put my cord down the center of it, and I have about 3 inches hanging out that way. Right sides, this is right side facing me. So I'm going to fold the right sides together like this and start pinning. I should get my clips. That'll be better on this material. This material doesn't want to receive any pins. I'd rather have. So I'm going to go ahead and have my cord in the center. It's very iffy if you use yarn for the instead of the cord here, because the yarn will break more than likely when you're pulling it through, because it's such a long strap. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in the center, fold it over, go all the way down, and I should have some extra on this end here. Just going all the way down. And on one end, I'm going to attach my cord. I'm going back and forth about 10 times, making sure that it's really secure. So I'll take it to my machine and I'll just go back and forth, back and forth. I'll leave one end open. Making sure that that's in there. Okay. So I'm going to take this to my machine. I'm going to go back and forth right here to secure this cord in there. And I'm going to stitch, straight stitch, quarter seam allowance, and go all the way down, closing this up, leaving the cord inside. But at this end, I will leave it open, and I'll come back and show you. All right, I have my strap all sewed, and I have this side right here on this side. My cord is, I stitched over it about 10 times. This side is open, and it has some of the cord hanging out. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the cord, the side that's stitched up about 10 times over the cord. I'm going to snip that cord off. And then I'm going to snip it in the corner a little bit without snipping through my thread. Like that. Like that. Now I'm going to take it to my iron and I'm going to press it because I want it to be nice and pressed. This side is open, and I'll come back and show you. Now what I'm going to do, I pressed it, and on the open side of my cord, I need to turn this right side right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scrunch, pull and scrunch, pull and scrunch. So you get it all the way down here, and then you kind of this is my first time doing it, so let's see how this works out. There might be a trick to this. Maybe not have so much down there. There it goes. You just have to keep trying and trying and trying. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go off camera because I'm sure you guys don't want to watch me. But you just got to get it started, and I can feel it going in there. There we go. There we go. It's starting to go in. There we go. There we go. It's coming. And straighten it out. Once I get the hang of this, there it is. Here it is already. Here it's coming out the other end. This is the right sides together. Alright. It worked. Sometimes I get surprised. And I am glad I didn't use a piece of yarn because that wouldn't have been good. Because you kind of probably, you have to really tug at it to begin with. Alright. And there we are. I'm going to go take this to my machine. Not my machine, but my iron, and I'm going to press it real nice. I'll come back. Okay, now I have all the, it turned right side right, and I have all my cord here, and I'm going to cut that off as close as I can cut it without cutting my material. And it's okay if there's a little bit there, because this is going to go into the purse when you sew the strap onto the purse. And what I'm going to do next is get this out of the way, and there's the seam, and I want the seam to be in the center of my strap, because this will be along the back side of the purse. So I'm going to go to my iron and I'm going to press it, and I'm going to make sure that the seam is all down the center. This will be the front of the strap, and this will be the back side of the strap. It'll make more sense when I show you. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the seam right in the center and go press. And I'll come back and show you. Alright, I got the strap done, and I ironed it and creased it. I ironed it. This is the back side of the strap, and this is the front side. And I'm going to go and use all my scraps of lace. all my scrap lace, and I'm going to put that on top of the strap. And I thought, well, I might as well use some buttons. I have a lot of buttons. So I have a lot of different buttons. So I thought I'd sew that to the strap too. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take it to my machine, and I'm just going to lay this on top of the strap. This is the side this is the back side, and this is the front side of the strap, and I'm going to just do that, and I'm going to embellish it by hand with the buttons. Just put some buttons here and there. But I'm going to lay this, and then I'm going to lay maybe a piece of cream down. Just like make a little scrappy strap for it. Just of different embellishments. You know, just different things. Kind of like a snippet roll, but it's going to be a strap for the purse. I'll come back and show you. But I'm going to just take this to my machine though, and just lay it on there and just stitch it on. And then I'll just trim off along the edges, whatever I don't sew, and just put different pieces of lace on there. Just a little added different to make it a little different. Okay, I got all my strap done. And I just added buttons and lace pieces. Sorry if the sun is coming through the window. Sorry if the lighting is a little different. So I did that all the way down. Just different, made it different, and it kind of looks really nice with the purse. Here's the back side, and it would just be black, and it was just too plain for me, so of course I had to embellish the strap. So now I'm going to connect the strap, and how I'm going to do that is I'm going to put right sides together. This is the right side of the purse, this is the right side of the strap. And I'm going to lay that down so I'm looking at the seam in the back of the strap. And I'm going to match up this seam to this seam. And I'm going to put them right together like that. And match it up at the top. And then I'm going to go ahead and put a couple, you can use pins, or I have these Wonder clips. And I'm going to go ahead and clip that right into place. Get the fringe and everything else out of the way. Just like that. I'll take it to my machine and I'll go over about 5 times, back and forth, forward, backwards, about 5 times. To make it real strong, because this is a stress area and I want it to be strong. Make sure that my strap is not twisting around. Make sure it's totally straight, and go over to the other side with the other end and take the other end, and here's my seam on my strap, and here's the seam on my purse. But go right sides to right sides. Get the fringe out of the way. Put them together, match them up as close as I can. And take a couple Wonder clips or pins. Pin it on there like that. And there we go. And then make sure and look at it again and make sure my straps are not twisted before I start sewing it. And they're not. It's not. So I'm going to go ahead and do a straight stitch about 5 or 6 times on there, come back and show you. Then we're going to do the lining in the pocket. Okay, so now we're going to put the snap on. And I already did this side, so I'll show you, go ahead and walk you through it. So this is the innie. So now we're going to do the outie. So we have our backing piece and the outie piece. And we have our liner. Let me move this one out of the way. So first things we got to do is find the center. And I could measure it, but I like to do it this way. I just fold it in half. And there's the center. So I'll just mark that with a Wonder Clip or a pin. I think I'll use a pin. Okay. And I'm going to come down 1.5 inches. Which puts it right. I have a tailor's chalk, or I do have a 1.5 is right here. Let me put a little dot there on top of the white. There we go. And the first thing we need to do is draw our lines down. And then fold it over like this. Halfway mark. And just snip a little tiny bit. Not too much. And then stick this through. And then turn this over. Now we have it on the back. Well, we did have it on, there we go. Just like that. So there's the tabs coming out. And we need to do a backing. And I just have a piece of jean, scrap jean material. We need to mark the tabs on each side. Like that. Fold it in half. And then snip just a little bit. You can always go more, but you can't go. And I went too far, I think, on this one, but we'll see. There. Then put that on here. And then put the backing on. Some people with these tabs right here, they do them in. I do them out. Take your little mallet, little rubber mallet. go. There's the outie, and there's the innie. And there they go together like that. Right sides together. Just like that. Okay, now I can sew the lining together. So right sides together, and I'll just leave this snapped. And I'm going to leave the bottom opened about 5 inches. About 5 inches. And I'm just going to sew the two sides together. Double stitch. So I'm going to pin it together, double stitch it. 1/4 inch seam allowance. Right sides together. 2 times for durability. Using black thread. So I'll get it all pinned up down to here. And like I said, I'll leave this open to turn it right side right over the purse. So okay, I went ahead and I stitched it, double stitched it, left a 5 inch opening right here. And now I'm going to clip the edges around the curves a little bit. Just a little bit, try not to get to through to my stitching. That's no fun. So just some little stitches, or snips, I'm sorry. All the way up. Might have went too far on that one. Go on the side, just around the curves. This is annoying, not being able to see my stitches, you know, my stitching, my black stitching. I think I'm doing all right. Just, I think I went too far on that one too. So now I'm gonna turn it right side right. I'm gonna take it to my iron. Remember, this is the lining. I'm gonna take it to my iron and give it a good press. So there it is. Press that down. Press this down a little bit. I'll be right back. Then we're gonna put it into the purse. Okay, the next step I'm gonna do is take my liner and unsnap it. Take it to my iron and give it a good press, right side out. And I'm going to take my purse and take it and do a good press on my seams of my strap. And press them nice and crisp down. On both ends. Okay, the first thing, now we're going to put the flap. Sew the flap to the bag. So the first thing I want to do is I want to open up the bag Open it up, put the flap down behind the opening of the bag like this. And the straps are down. There we go. Then I want to turn the lining inside out, which it already is. I pressed it, nice and pressed it. And I want to put the lining inside the bag. Over top of it. So I'm going to open it up and I'm going to put my hand through it. And I'm going to take a hold of the bag and I'm going to slip this over. I hope. I hope I left a big enough opening. There we go. Like that. This takes a little bit of doing here. Lay it in there. Kind of want to line up the seams of the purse with the seams of the lining. And then I want to go to the corners and I want to match this seam with the inside seam of the purse. I'm going to match them up, line them up, so my snaps will be lined up. And I'm going to put a couple pins in there. Go this way with it. And there's a lot of material. Line my top up. I'm bending my pin, there's so much in there. There we go. Like that. It's gone through there. I think I'm going to move it over a little bit. Not quite happy with that. There, that's better. I'm going to go ahead and do that same thing to the other side. Go to the other side. Look for my seam, and there's the seam to my lining. Match them up. Put some two pins in there. 1, 2. Just like that. Then I'm going to pin all the way around. And I'm going to do a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Make sure it's all nice and pinned in. And I'll do it one time because all the way around because I'm going to do a top stitch, so that'll make it more durable when I do it 2 times. So let me get that all pinned on, and then I'll sew it on and I'll come back and show you. Okay, I got it all stitched all the way around. The lining is attached to the top of the bag. Now I'm going to go ahead and pull my purse through. Bring my purse back out. Note to self, I think I'll make my opening a little bit bigger for my next bag. I mean, this is okay, but it's a good thing that my bag is 11 by 11. If it was bigger, it would be kind of a little struggle. There we go. Alright, so my purse is out. My lining is there. Check and make sure that I caught it all. And I did. And now I have this hole in the bottom of my lining. Get that out there. Oh, I missed a spot right here on my lining, so when I close this bottom up, I'll make sure I go right here and see what happens. You find your mistakes. So I'll go ahead and pin that to remind me. Okay, there we go. Alright, so everything else should be okay. There we go. Now I have this opening down here, and I'm going to take it to my iron again and press. That's what you got to do with when you're sewing something. It makes it a lot easier to sew it on this machine. And I'll go ahead and trim off some of these strings. And I'll take it to my iron and I'll press. And then I'm going to press it under and close it a little bit. And do the best you can. I'll do the best I can. And I'll press it so it stays nice and neat. This is the bottom of the bag, so nobody's going to be investigating it or anything, but you still want to try to do the best you can. You know, and close that up. So I'll do that, then take it to my machine and do really close to the edge, and then close up my little hole right here. There is no more little holes. So I'll do that, and I'll come back and show you. Okay, I did that. I stitched all that up. And I stitched up my little hole. You can't even tell where it was at. Now I can turn my bag and put my lining inside my bag. See how it lines all up. All right. Put it down in my bag. All right, see my two, make sure they line up. And they do. It was fun doing that. I liked that part. So now I'm going to take it to my iron and press, and see how it's kind of like, you know, like the lining wants to come out. So I'm going to give that a nice good press it down. All the way around. And make these, my straps, to be a lot crispier and, you know, neater and cleaner. See how the top stitch will help this all lay down. So that's what I'm going to do next, and then we're going to be done. Okay, I took it to my iron and I pressed it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Wonder Clips and kind of clip it down like this. All the way around, and I'm going to do a top stitch. When I slide this into my machine, them are really good snaps. There's my pockets, my two pockets. When I slide this in my machine, I'm going to make sure that I have my strap out of the way, my flap open, so that things don't get tangled up. I'm going to take this around. I'm going to do a top stitch all the way around. There's around the flap, around the strap, making sure that my lining is nice and flat. And like I took it to my iron and I pressed it the best I could. I want this to be nice and flat. And so I can do a top stitch. And then we're done. I'm thinking about adding a tassel, but that will come later. Okay, so the purse is done. Voila! Let me put it on. Let me see if I can bring the camera up. But it's really cool. I really like it. I'm real happy with it. I think it's super duper cute. And we got the jewels. I'm looking over at the monitor, so I'm sorry about that. But I got the jewels on there. And the flap, and the liner, and the clasp, and the pocket. And the fringe, and all the different fun goodie things on there. And right here, the key. And then you put the flap back over, like that. And then you have, I have the jewels on the back. So yeah, it's super cute. And then of course the strap, we did all the different buttons and all the different pieces. My hair's flying away. So, let me see, gotta get taller. I want to thank you so much for joining me and sticking around throughout the whole thing and, you know, all that stuff. And yeah, I'm happy and excited about it. I'm so thankful that you're here with me still. And I hope that you subscribe, and I hope that you stick around, and we'll do some more videos. Here's to 2026. May it be a great, blessed year for all of you. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you.